Keepin' Ag family meal. Hop Sing's going to serve us a chicken fried steak and some jalapeno gravy, plenty of Nanny's yeast rolls, and a cold cucumber salad. I'll be pouring the iced tea. And first, we're going to talk a little bit about ag weather across down on the farm country. And remember, down on the farm country goes from way up near Abilene, actually north of there to Throckmorton and places like Aspermont, all the way down to Corpus Christi Bay, all the way back over to near that Louisiana line, and then folks all the way out on the Coconut Ranch near Alpine listen to Down on the Farm and all points in between, and we really appreciate it no matter what platform you listen to us on, whether it's our Facebook page, whether it's our website, or whether it's one of the 14 affiliate stations. We appreciate that. Let's take a look at ag weather across Down on the Farm country, shall we? You know, neighbor, I said we get listened to in places like Aspermont up there right off the cap. Well, up there today, sunny, 58 and 28. Thursday, sunny, 53 and 25. Let's move down to Ballinger. Breezy, 47 the high today, 34 the low. Tomorrow, Thursday, mostly sunny, 50 and 24. Today's winds, 19, 20 mile an hour out of the northwest. Let's come down to San Antonio, right in the big middle of Down on the Farm country. Breezy today, 54 and 31. Mostly sunny tomorrow, 50 and 24. Again, the winds today by about this time, 19, 20 mile an hour out of the north. Temperatures will have dropped to about 51 or 52. As we move toward the coast, we'll check Alice. Breezy today, 54 and 31. Mostly sunny on Thursday the 3rd, 63 and 39. Today's winds will begin to pick up a little bit by about 4 p.m. They'll be about 11 mile an hour. So, neighbor, if we didn't mention your community, I think we pretty much got darn close to it. Let's take a look at those commodities of ag interest now that we have the weather out of the way. We'll go to barchart.com. They do a pretty good job keeping as up to the minute as we can. And we remind you, this is just a snapshot of a price in time. We have 14 affiliate stations and several modes where our signal goes out, so we have to start a little early. So don't use this to make a trade. March corn up 1.5, 422.5. Jan beans down 5 1/4, 11.56 3/4. January bean meal down $2.40 by the ton at 387.80. March Kansas City hard red winter wheat up 14 1/4 at 553 1/4. Your January West Texas Intermediate crude contract up 56 at 45.11. February gold up 10.70 by the ounce at $1,829.70 by the ounce. February live cattle down 25 at 112.92. January feeder cattle down 22.5 at 141.42. February lean hogs down 95 at 67.80. March number 2 cotton down 30 at 71.89. Your December U.S. dollar index down 52 points at 91.24. Neighbor, there are your commodities of ag interest as close to this time frame that you're listening as we can get. Neighbor, now let's head to Waco for a weather-related topic from Tom Nicoletti and Texas News and Views.
La Nina continues Texas drought in December. I'm Tom Nicoletti with Texas News and Views from the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network. More in a minute.
Parenting is full of surprises.
You never know what to expect.
So after our son was born, I called my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent to set up a life insurance policy in case something happened to me.
Sawyer is now 2.
And we'll soon have a sister. There's no one else I would trust with protecting my family.
Visit Texas Farm Bureau Insurance today at tfbinsurance.com for an agent you can trust with life's most important decisions. Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
You're looking for soybeans that give you the yield you want. But when it comes to fighting your toughest weeds, you also need flexibility. Introducing Extend Flex soybeans. Elite genetics with triple tolerance to dicamba, glyphosate, and glufosinate. The yield you want, the choice you need. Learn more at extendflexsoy.com. Always read and follow IRM where applicable, grain marketing, and all other stewardship practices and pesticide label directions.
According to the National Integrated Drought Information System, currently there are 19,774,000 Texas residents that are living in some form of drought at this time. That is 79% of the state's total population. To go a step further, 4,863,000 people, which is 19% of the Texas population, are living in abnormally dry areas. Tom Bradshaw is National Weather Service meteorologist, joining us today from Fort Worth. And as we do every month, we look at the previous month very quickly, Tom, and into December. And certainly November was a dry month, and the Texas Drought Monitor is showing just that.
Yeah, it's good to be with you again, Tom. And certainly November was a very dry month for the Lone Star State. Parts of far west Texas had really virtually no precipitation whatsoever. Vast reaches of central and northeast Texas, again, very, very, very light amounts. The only areas that actually got any precipitation at all of any appreciable amount were the areas from about Laredo across to the Houston and Beaumont-Port Arthur areas. But just about everybody else was very dry, and that's typical of what we see with the La Nina fall and winter pattern, which tends to shunt storm systems up to our north and our east away from affecting the Lone Star State.
Now we're into the final month of the year, into December, and of course officially later in the month, winter will begin. So what is the forecast that you see going forward for December as far as any type of precipitation, whether it be in the form of rainfall or snowfall, and also temperatures? Well,
the forecast from the Climate Prediction Center is still calling for very dry and warm conditions across the state of Texas during the month of December. Doesn't mean we won't have brief incursions of cold air. And first, for that matter, it looks like the first few days of the month of December will be a little on the cool side with a little bit of Canadian air that will have moved into the area. But by and large, we should see normal to above normal temperatures and, again, very dry conditions. We may see a little bit of snow, as we normally do up in the Panhandle. We've already had a couple of storms up there this fall and winter, and we may see a little snow out in far west Texas. But by and large, most areas of the state of Texas are expected to be remain on the dry side through the month of December. And the counties that have really taken it on the chin the worst are the counties from the Panhandle southward to the Lubbock and Plainview, Midland, Odessa areas down into the Big Bend. Also seeing a lot of very dry conditions from the San Antonio area down towards Del Rio and the Laredo areas. So many areas that are receiving virtually no rainfall over the last several months, but certainly over the last 30 to 60 days, it's been extremely dry.
That is National Weather Service meteorologist Tom Bradshaw joining us today from Fort Worth.
In Texas, there's pea-size hail and baseball-size hail. Guess which one hit our house? We didn't even know where to begin, but we called our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent, and he was so reassuring. He knew exactly what to do to get our house back into shape and our lives back to normal. Now, we're even more thankful for the roof over our heads.
Visit Texas Farm Bureau Insurance today at tfbinsurance.com to insure your home for Texas-size weather. Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
You are listening to Texas News and Views. I'm Tom Nicoletti with the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network.
Neighbor, everywhere I go in the state of Texas, sheep are becoming more important. They are fairly easy to come by. You can do them on small acreages as well as a large acre. And old Benny Cox gives us lots of good information each week about them. Benny Cox, producers in Cargyle, San Angelo. How did the sheep and goat sale go?
Man, these numbers were a little light compared to what we were before we closed. You know, we're staying up there in that 6,000 range. We had 43.29, and the market was absolutely on fire. We saw these the lambs that were suited to go to. I call them wool feeder lambs. You gotta qualify that, I guess. You know, everything going to the slaughter, the ethnic kill deal. They were $10 to $20 higher than they were the week we shut out, and they were awful high at that level. The slaughter hair lambs, they sold anywhere from $20 to $30 a hundred higher. The slaughter ewes, they were 10 to 15 higher. They were actually a little softer before we shut down. And they've tended to be a good deal higher between Thanksgiving and Christmas for a good while. These kid goats, they were $15 to $20 higher at least. they weren't as much changed as were the hair sheep lambs. But anyway, the slaughter nannies, they sell from 120 to 176, which is kind of like it was before we shut down. Mostly 140 to 160. Mature billies from 180 to 232. On the wool lambs yesterday, we had some old big things that sold down as low as 190. Isn't that crazy to say down as low?
Down.
Up to $3 a pound.
Yeah.
We had some these lighter end of these hair sheep types sell from 230 all the way up to 360. Lots of them up there around that $3 mark. The heavier weights from 180 to 312. And that 312, now remember what I've said so many times? Those heavier weights are over 80 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
The slaughter ewes, they sell from 80 to 126. Your kid goats from 240 to 382. Now, that was legitimately 382 was goats big enough to kill. We had some of those feeder goats up to as high as 406. But the majority of those goats, the good kind, selling in that 265 to 330. I'll mention this. There's one consigner. He sends a lot of stuff here. He had a ring full of 87-pound buck lambs. These are hair sheep. There was 32 of them. They bring $3 a pound. That is $261 a head.
Right. They weren't marked.
Yes. And then, he had 19 that weighed 76. They bring 304. So we had lots of those hair sheep lambs that brought in excess of $200 a head. Yep. And you're talking about a lamb that's, kind of 5 to 6 months of age. Right. So it's just amazing. And how, I actually go on record saying this, before we shut down, I said, I don't know if we've got any room for a raise between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and look at what's happened. If we starve these guys for numbers, there's no telling this market could stay this good. We've got 2 more sheep sales, and then we'll close for 2 weeks. If we keep these numbers down in all these auctions, there's no telling what these people will do the next 2 weeks.
Right. Well, starving them for numbers brings up a thought that I had while you were talking. Are we in kind of a perfect storm? Do we have the numbers that we could go ahead and bring to town, and we have lots of demand? Or what's the exact situation that we're facing that's pushing this forward?
Here's what I think. I think that it's been really hard around here. We had that good rain event here back, whatever it was, 8-10 weeks ago, where we had some excessive rains, but then we didn't get follow-ups. And so the range conditions, even though we've got some winter weeds that germinated and winter grass in places, we're still not really blessed with really good range conditions anywhere in this major sheep growing area. As you get east, of course, they had enough moisture to change things, but you run out of sheep as you go east, to a degree. So this is a time of the year that a lot of these hair sheep are lambing, goats are kidding. I really don't think that there's any big numbers left out there. I think due to the dry weather conditions, the range situation, I think a lot of people pushed forward and have sold a lot of that supply. Mm-hmm. And now they're back to raising these little ones, trying to keep the varmints out of them. And I simply don't think they're there. That's certainly going to be the factor that's the tell-all is what we see. We could show up here with 7,000 next week, but I don't know where in the heck they're going to come from. That's just my thought. And we stay down there in that 45 to 6,000. There's, like I say, there's no telling what this market is liable to do. And a lot of these people sitting there looking, if they're looking at their calendar, realize there's just 2 more weeks, basically 2 more weeks of sales for these auctions around here, and the way that Christmas and New Year's falls, a lot of them won't have a sale. So they're going to have to push forward if they want to have some supply. And there's always additional demand during the Christmas holidays. And a lot of these guys, even though they don't like to hold them, there's people that have the ability to hold some of these things. And I think they're gonna ramp up their surplus, or what they think they can sell for the Christmas holidays. And so I think they'll push forward. I think this market will stay good. If it backed off $10 a hundred next week on all classes, a lot of people wouldn't have a clue. They'd just be tickled with their check.
Yes.
This just amazing. I've never seen these hair sheep lambs. I've never seen them start to be this high. And the kid goats are, they might have got up close to this, during the winter months when it's so high. But it's amazing that the market is able to sustain this kind of, and we need it with expenses such as they are, and the varmint pressure issues. It's just, it's a blessing that we've got a market like this.
Right. What about the cattle market Thursday?
We hadn't got many to start with. like we talked yesterday, I'm kind of lost with, what people are likely to do. A lot of times after a holiday, they'll wait for a week and then they'll hit you the second week. Again, we gather a lot of livestock from out in far west Texas, depending on what they do. And it's tough out there. They went hard and fast for about 3 months. I think maybe a bunch of those guys are probably getting close to cleaned up, looks like to me.
Not that those pastures weren't empty when you think about it to begin with, because they don't have that stocking rate out there.
That's exactly right.
Tell everybody how to contact you.
They can call me on my mobile. It's 325-234-4277. The office, same area code, 653-3371, or they can always look at the web, which is producersandcargyle.com.
Neighbor, here's a quick reminder about the Lone Star Angus Alliance. December the 4th, 2020, bull and female sale. Happens at 1 p.m. there in Hallettsville. There'll be 30 yearling, 78 two-year-old, and 20 open commercial Brangus heifers. For more information, 361-798-6558. That's the Lone Star Angus Alliance bull and female sale in Hallettsville. December the 4th, 1 p.m. There'll be 30 yearling, 78 two-year-old, and 20 open commercial Brangus heifers. Call 361-798-6558. Call 361-798-6558. Neighbor, while Hop Sing rings the dinner bell and feeds us lunch, I'll remind you once again that Down on the Farm Radio covers lots of country. All the way from Benny Cox in San Angelo, now down to Doug Bass at Cattleman's Brenham. Doug, what's that sale, the first one after the holiday, going to look like this week?
Got lots of cattle lined up. We've got traps full of calves already there this week. I'll have one little sellout of cows, probably 25 good crossbred cows, and they're supposed to be young cows. Somebody needs a few turnout cows. But just looks like we'll have a darn good calf sale. We've got lots of yearlings lined up ready to come.
Good. Now, we have a special coming in December?
Yes, sir. December the 29th. That's going to be on a Tuesday, 12 o'clock. We'll have somewhere between 60 and 70 bulls. Got a really good selection of Charolais bulls. I had one man send me 23-year-old bulls, which is something you don't find very much of. They turn them out for 1 year, and he's trading out, So if somebody's needing some good bulls, we'll have them. We'll have about 1,000 females.
Okay, good deal. A lot to choose from coming toward the end of the month. Good sale coming up this Friday. Doug Bass, Cattleman's Brenham. Tell everybody how to contact you.
Yes, sir. Y'all can call me on my cell, which is 979-877-4454, or call us at the office, which is 979-836-3621.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Larry. Y'all have a good week.
McCoys.com. McCoy's Building Supply. Still family owned. Strong, growing, and relevant for our ag community. Farm and ranch panels and gates. Field fencing. Welded wire panels. Barbed wire and electric fencing. Shop online and find products and the store near you at McCoys.com. Now, neighbor, there are sales going on today, and since our Cowboys have already eaten lunch, we're going to send them over to Caldwell. Half of them are going to work the ring. About a quarter of them are going to work back in the back part, moving cattle forward, and then some are going to buy cattle and bring them back. From Carl Herman, Caldwell Livestock. Carl, what's that sale looking like?
I'm working in an office now. We've got 700 in the barn, looking for maybe another 250 to 3 tomorrow. Makes 1,000. Anyway, look for a good sale.
Good. What is the mix like as you look across the barn tonight?
A lot of the calves are kind of getting smaller. Not as many cows, so that's a good thing.
Well, looking for 1,000 at Caldwell. Tell everybody what time you begin and how to get a hold of you.
Starting at 1 o'clock. My number is 979-820-5349. Call the barn, 567-4119. If you're in the Giddings area, call Max Edmer at 540-8676.
Carl, thank you a bunch.
Yes, sir.
Bye-bye.
Good to talk to you.
Neighbor, let's take a look at the grains and cotton, courtesy of John Tuggle, 800-288-4453. Number 2, Milo, through Corpus in December. March plus 250, $11.98. We'll call Progresso $8. Yellow corn through Corpus in December. March plus 40, $4.60 3/4. We'll call Progresso $8.65 1/4. Hard red winter wheat through Corpus in December. March plus 70, $6.09. Houston, March plus 95, $6.34. We'll call number 1 beans through Houston, December, January delivery. January plus 10, $11.72. Placido, January less 60, $11.02. 2,341 bale East Texas cotton, 88 $120 Bala West. Average price in East Texas $66.94. Average price in West Texas $69.94. That makes the 11,161 bale of Texas cotton we moved worth about $68.44. Whenever there's your grains and cotton, I'm Larry Marble. Good day to you.